Hello, in this demo I will show you how we can implement a simple mailer in .NET. Actually, I will just demonstrate the implementation that it's already done by me. I have here Parallels running Windows 10 on my macOS, and I will just start by opening Visual Studio.NET. I already implemented a simple mailer application that I will reopen and show you step by step. My application is just a simple Windows Forms application in which I have a main form. If I go here and opening the Solution Explorer, you will see it's a simple application. The form itself, it is just one that can compose a simple mail without any attachments, for instance. And I can say what is the from, email address, a list of senders of receivers to get the message, some carbon copy, a back carbon copy, an input for the subject and the body of the message. And then when I press send, actually what I'm doing, I am creating an SMTP client. All those objects are from system.net.mail namespace. My SMTP client will use the configuration files that I have set here. My application configuration file has a configuration for system.net namespace, which is setting the mail settings, and basically I have only one SMTP server which is delivering the mails by just resolving the network. That's a DNS resolver, and I have only one network to connect with. That's the host of my machine and the default 25 port for SMTP, and I'm gonna use the credentials of the user I'm running with. So that's the simple configuration of my SMTP client. Now with this client I just create a mail address with the email entered in the from text box field. Then I add to the recipient list the same address, and I iterate through all the items separated by colon in the to text box. I create a mail address out of each one, and then I add them to the list. I do the same if I have some text entered in the carbon copy field and in the back carbon copy as well. In the end, I'm setting the subject and the body accordingly, and I subscribe to the send completed event with a delegate, could be a lambda expression as well, and my delegate is just showing a confirmation message with a message box button of OK and the icon of the confirmation, which is an information. So, sorry, I'm sending synchronously the mail, and that's all. Now, before being able to run this, and I will just start my application without debug, I need to create to set up some email addresses. So for that purpose I installed HMail server, which is a pretty and very easy to use mail server during demos. It is implemented by an Estonian company called Lumisoft, and my HMail server, let me just open it. It has an administrative console which can accommodate different sessions. Basically, you can configure your listeners. Those are my TCP listeners, and you may see that I have the default ports for SMTP, POP3, IMAP, and SMTP with SSL. And I will start by creating a domain. The domain should be the one which is appropriate to the machine, and because this is running on a virtual machine, I can then do an ipconfig/all and see what is the domain of my Ethernet. So if you go in here, you see that my domain is called local domain. So let's just copy this value and create a new domain. The name of the domain is local domain. Now I will just save this and create an account. Let me just call my account demo. And you know what, this should be the receiver. Or maybe demo should be nice, just fine. I set the maximum size of the mailbox. Let me just use 100 megabytes, and that's all. So I also have to fill the password, make sure that I have one, and it says that the password is very weak and the value is demo as well. Now that I have created my account, let me just configure my mail application to use this account. So let me fire up my mail client, and I will go and add a new account. So if I go to settings in my mail account, I then can manage accounts and create a new one. And because this is an account that's unusual for the domain and it will not be able to resolve the domain, let me go to advanced. It is either a POP3 or an IMAP. In this case, let me just enter the address. It's demo at local domain. The username is the same. This is the address. The password is demo. Let me just call the account demo as well. And in here, I then have to specify which is my name when I send a message. What's the incoming email server? Let me just use localhost. And then my account should use IMAP4, and the outgoing SMTP server is localhost as well. Now, because this is a simple demo, I will not require authentication when sending emails. This is how my HMail server is already configured. I'm not going to require the SSL either. So let me just sign in with this account. And if everything goes well, it says that my account has been configured. So this is my demo account. Let me just send an email, and I'll send an email to from demo at local domain, and I will send it to demo at local domain, and that's going to be my test using IMAP to read the message. So I'll just say hi. This is just a simple message. You will read with IMAP. Regards, and of course I will sign with the sender. Not a very great mail, but let me just send it. So I just send the mail, and if I go here, go to my mailbox, it is already there, so it's not read. But I can then say what was the content of the mail. So it says that my mail is just okay, some typo here, but it's just a simple message that I will read again, another typo with IMAP. Sorry for my voice. So if I go and look on my disk, in the folder where the HMail server is installed, and it is in here, I have a data folder that contains a name for the domain, the name of the account, some code, and this is actually the message I received. So this is my message, and those are the new line separator on Windows, and I see this is my email. It was then, that's the name of the machine, I'm running it, it's a virtual machine, and that's the returning path for the sender. Now if I like to intercept the SMTP session, I can, for instance, start a tool which is called TCP trace. And my TCP trace tool, it's a simple application that acts like a client to a remote machine. So I will connect on localhost on port 25 to my actual SMTP listener, but I will act like a listener on 2525 port just to intercept the call. So now let me just configure our sender, and in this case I will just modify the port here, just rebuild the application, and after building the application I will start it again. I will just use the same account to deliver the email. That's going to be the sender, this is where to send, and this is another test, just a new message for you. Okay. The fact that I'm doing so lousy typing, it's because I'm just holding my laptop on my belly, actually on my chest, and I just record this demo for you. So I send a message, but if I look here, I can then see what was the actual SMTP session. So I connected to the server and received a message. This is what I got. That's the notification that I received another mail, and this is my new message. And so the sender, the client, actually started a session with the server, and then it started to compose an email. So that's the from, that's the recipient to, and this is actually the data of the email with the version of the MIME. So here I have the message with the headers, like those that you saw before. That's the content of the message with the from, to, reply to, and the date when the message was created. The title, this is the content type, saying it's a plain text using US ASCII, and this was the type I transferred the encoding. Now, after the headers of the message, I have a new line, then the content of the message, and just a dot saying that the message has been finished. And after logging into the sender, the server received the mail command, then the data command, and it acknowledged that the data was received correctly, and eventually the message was sent. And I also got a notification that the message has been put in the queue, and when I closed the session, I then got a goodbye status. So this is actually how it works, and here I have also the client. Now let me just create a new email account in my mail application, but I will just use the same okay, let me just delete the account and not the email. So let me go to the email and manage the accounts. So I'm gonna delete this. I'm not deleting the account on the server, but just deleting the configuration on my mail application. I'm gonna create a new account. So let's create a new one, and this time it's gonna be the same advanced status. I'll create an internet mail client for my mail, which is using this username. The password is demo. The account name, let me just call it demo as well. Sorry, my name should be demo. It's gonna use localhost to send messages, and the account should be POP3 this time. My outgoing SMTP server is gonna be on localhost as well, but you see nothing because I'm not sending emails with this client, and I also don't require authentication. and it's going to use the default POP3 port, which is 143, which is 110, sorry, 143 was the one for IMAP, and the email account has been successfully configured. Now let me just change this. I will just close my TCP talk application, set back the value for the port, and then let me just rebuild the solution once again for you. And after rebuilding the solution, let me just start it again. So I'm gonna send to the same sender, from the same sender to the same recipient, and there's gonna be some test, and I'm gonna just say just testing it. Okay, so let me just test it again, and this time it's sending to the same account, and I will receive the message with POP3. So this is just some test, but because I didn't delete this from the server, when I configured my POP3 account, it also received, it was able to read the previous message that was not deleted from my mailbox. And if I go in here and check how my local storage looks like, I have some emails that were already sent and received by the HTML server. Now let me just delete these emails now, and if I go in here on my local domain, you see that those messages were marked to be deleted, but they were not actually deleted. So just one of them was actually deleted. Let me just delete it for you from the disk as well, and send another one with the content last test, with the subject last test. It was sent. If I go in here, I see that the message was sent, and then I go and refresh my connection, trying to fetch the message from the server, and eventually I will be able to see the newly created message. It's taking too long, don't know why, but the POP3 connection should work. So eventually I see the message that I sent before. The message is already in here. I think I can configure my application to actually take the message from the server, but since it's a quite straightforward application, I'm not sure I will be able to see how to do that. This is a sync option I have, but should depend on the server, on the consumer type, if it's POP3 or SM or IMAP 4, but nevertheless that's something that depends on the application, the client application you use. So that's all. That was all with a small send email application in .NET that I can implement with few lines of code thanks to the way .NET framework is already implemented. So thank you for watching.